So I just put a little bit of double-sided tape there. The job. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around with this small bit first because it's quite a shallow template. When I make my own templates, I make them thicker than this. So I'm just going to whiz that around until I can get to a position where I can put a longer bit in. Right, so I'm not going to hang around now, I'm just going to zip it as much as I possibly can. Right, see you in a bit. So what I've done, I just cut a little notch out for the truss rod wheel on the bandsaw. Sometimes I make a little jig, but it's so small, it only takes a minute. Try it. Just going to run the screws down through the holes. The holes I've drilled in this. It's 4mm in the body and it's 3.5mm into the neck. So I've double checked everything. I've cut the scratch split to the next thing that we're going to do now. So I'm happy with all this now because it's quite a complicated layout, this Jag, when you think of it, how much is going on here. So anyway, but the weight is alright, I'm happy with that. I don't know whether any of you have used these long reach pencils. It's very popular now with carpenters. I've always been a fan of engineering pencils anyway, so I've always used them ever since I was an apprentice. Anyway, what I've done now, I've done the front arm comfort. On the back, I've used this template here, or where it is, this one, for the back one, for the belly carve. So the next thing now is to cut these. I'll probably do halfway, something like that. It's quite a deep belly rub, so it is difficult to do really. It's not easy to get it nice and flat and straight, but just take your time. I'm going to take most of it off with the sanding file. I'll make short work of it, and then I'll clean it up with files and the blocks. Right, so no more talking, I'll just crack on with it. So it didn't take too long to do. It is messy, but this dust box saves about 70% of it, I suppose. But as I look at that now, it's pretty good there. Pretty little bit high in the middle, but there. Good there, good there. This was. There's a little bit I want to thin out in that section, but there. Right. Back to it, see you in a minute. That's okay now. So I'm happy with that now. I'll just do the rest with the manage with the finer sanding. I'll re-radius the edge by hand. I'll do the same now on the reverse side. The arm contour. I won't film that. It's just exactly the same. I'm going to take it down to about 15mm, something like that. and it's important to keep that edge straight. And I'll see you in a bit. Started now the final sanding. I've done the edges and the roundovers, the bits that I don't like to want to get them out of the way first. The flat bits are easy to do. Then I'm going to work my way down to around 240, 120, 180, 240. I won't give him voice over anyway. So I'll work me through the grades now and I'll catch up again. I'm not going to film all that. So that's all the masking up now of the bottle routes. So I'm just gonna put a bit of cloth down so it yawns. Now I'm not sure at the moment, the colour that I'm going to do it is like a bluey green with a little bit of metallic in it. So I'm going to have to make some inquiries to the people I get my paint off to see what colour primer goes underneath it better. I'm guessing the white, it'll be a white primer. So the next time you see this now, it'll have a coat on. I try not to show a lot of the spray in because it just makes a mess and it kills my camera. So I don't want to. The camera has an armor in with the distance it is, so I'll never know overspray. So next time you see this, it'll be painted up. Right, so I'll see you in a bit. Or a day or two. I don't know whether you can hear that then, but it's a Saturday afternoon. And there's a local rugby team playing. I'm not sure what they're playing, but I can hear it from you from the ground. We're only about half a mile away, something like that, mile away. So next job, I'm going to start marking it out now, and this is going to be quite rough. Basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to decide where my transition is going to be from the back of the neck onto the headstock, and same by here to the heel. Then I draw a centre line up through the middle. I'm going to be smack on. I'll be doing it all by eye. Then I'll half that distance from the centre line to here. Half that distance from here to the end of the fingerboard. Then I'll half that again. Same this side. And then I'll file between the first transition, either side. And then I may mark another transition and then I'll file between that. So I'll explain it as I go along, but you don't need a slide rule or anything like that to mark this out. It can be all be done by eye. Right, on a steady hand. Right, so I'm going to try and get the camera in a position now there where you can see me do it, and I will try and do it with a thicker pencil as well so you can see it on the video. Right, see you in a bit. Right, so here's the first thread. The transition is going to come from about a third of the way down the first thread there. Alright, and it's going to go up that way somewhere. Right. That's the 12th, that's the 13th. So I'm going to start on the 13th, and then you've got the 14th, and it's about 14 and a half. Going to be something like that. The middle of the neck by here, that's reading 50, so we say 25, just over it is. Right, so it's about there. So it's 22, up there. So I'm going to be accurate, like I said. So I'm just going to draw a line now, all the way up to the centre line there. I'm trying to do it a bit thick, so you can see it. Then I'll half it. So I'll come by here now in the middle, Work my way all the way up. I'll flip it around so you should be able to see it. Same this side. 1, 2. This. Zoom here now. Halfway down. Flip it around. Halfway down. It looks complicated when you're doing it and carving it and all that, but once you get these facets down and then knock them off to start it coming round, then reduce the thickness to what you want, do this transition a little bit, not perfect, and then start rounding it with some emery cloth and sandpaper. Right, no talking now, just get on with it. See you in a bit. It's a 9.5 radius block, so I've just put some tape down to stick it in place, so it's sliding about a bit. On this one I've got 80 grit to take most of the meat off. So just thicknessed the centre line down the fingerboard, which I don't really need now but I got a centre line drawn on my block. So all it is for a rough guide for me to keep it square, keep the centre on. Right, here we go. Across there, the centre line is still there, and it's starting to cut away on the edges. I just got my 5 gauge to drop that down. You can see the light coming through the bottom. Tight on the edges. So probably another 2 runs like I've just done won't be far off the mark. So the fingerboard's all radius now, and like I said about the centre line, there's just a little remnant of the centre line by here. So I'm happy with that now. What I do, I'm going to change papers, take it to a finer grit, and that should do the job. Right, I decided to spool this. So I finished off now with 180. So the next thing we're going to do is start carving the neck. Set my dust extraction up, and I'm going to use my power file, some Japanese files I got, and some sanding tubes. But anyway, you'll see it now. Right, you'll find it easier if you put a blade in it, a sanding blade disc. There we go. So what I did, I I started to round it off with a number of facets. It was about 3 each side. I've kept an eye then. I've thicknessed it here to 23 and thicknessed it here to 22. Looking at that there now, it's fairly parallel, a little tiny, little bit more going to come off in the middle. So I've taken a template off one of my favourite guitars, which is the Strat actually, the profile of it. That's not too far out by here. This by here is a bit wider, but the shape isn't a million miles off. Still feeling a little bit D-shaped. I want to turn it into a C if I can. When I'm making a neck, it's mostly how I feel. But how you feel it by your mind when it's on the guitar is two totally different things. Anyway. So it's getting there. A little bit more by here now. So we're not far off the mark now. So I'm quite happy with that. Roughly what I wanted. So not far off at all. I'll do the job lovely. Okay, well done.
Now what are we doing that?
Right.
But
You missed it. That's it. 12. 13. So I'm just nibbling the fret end, the fret tangs off. You can put them in without it and just sand them back flat to the fingerboard. But I like to chop them off, like the Gibson ones where they overhang the binding. I fill it then with rosewood dust, which is normally. Now this then, by here, is just a little jig for holding the fret while you just dress the bottom of it. I'll give you a close up of it now, you can see it then. So there he is there, before. I don't know whether you can see that, but it's not very neat at the bottom. But 2 rubs of the file, and it's done. And that's what it looks like. And that little jig there, all it is a little block of wood with a slot cut in it. And holds the fret in place, stop it standing about. So you got to put that in the middle of the fret. Right, roll him over. I'm going to tap it once there, then I'm going to hold it, tap it in the middle, tap it on the end. That's all. Okay. 3 knocks. Okie doke. Go on then.
Okie doke.
Don't whack it too hard. There. No, I didn't use that end, did I?
Oh.
now in the middle, now on the end. Well done. Right, I'll line you up for you. Perfect. Right down the end. Nice one. So that's the last one now. Right. And put you all around the band to make you go and do his school homework. Because it's getting quite late now. Just going to put a little bit of candle wax on each side of the fret. What it does is makes it easier to clean up. This little claw. And then I'm just going to drop a bit of super glue on the side. So I've got the clamp now, holding the fret in place. And I just pull a little bit of super glue over there, and it will run down through, and sometimes you'll just see it coming out through the back. You will just see it coming up there, but I have a little Q-tip at hand. Pick up a brass, not too bad so far. Just leave it like that for a minute and then work my way down to the next one. Go on then, work your way down with it. So push him up tight and squeeze him on the end, right, so you get more leverage. That's it, like that, you got it. That's him, tap it on there now. So it's alright, isn't it? Right, try the next one, do a couple of... So you're away now for a few days, so it won't be able to help me. So that's that for now, and then we'll carry on later on in the week. Right.
Bye guys.
Bye bye gang. Clean up some of this wax. This stops if the super glue runs out under the frets of the fingerboard. Stops it from sticking a bit. Makes the cleaning up a bit better. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the end of the frets in now with some rosewood dust and a little bit of super glue. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the end of each fret end. Right, job done. Give that a minute now and then we'll start filing them off. So just going down with a smooth file to take the tops of the sharp edges off, and then I use a sanding block with 120 on. And on the other side is a 240, so I don't, just to eliminate any tooling marks. So that's looking pretty good, that is. I think I'll try and do a close-up for you to see the end of the frets. I hope you can see that. So generally it's really good. Give it a light stoning, final sanding. So that's where we are, and I'll see you in a bit. Going good, won't be long now. That come out there quite nicely. But to clean the bottom of the slot up, I machined this bit of mahogany. I've done it with perspex as well. This one I've used for years. There's a bit of 120 grit on there, and you just smooth the bottom of the slot. Works really well. Some of you may be wondering why I haven't put the fret markers in before you've done the fret in. Now there's a reason for that. Is either I forgot, which sometimes I do, brushing over them when things are going really well, but I really like these cream ones. They're like a vintage cream. Now I was under the impression that I had them in my one of my drawers, but I didn't have enough. I only had a couple, so I've had to order some. So instead of hanging about waiting for them to come, I've plodded on. I've done them before in the past when the frets are in, and it's okay. After the 15th fret it gets a little bit awkward. Anyway, I'm just using these digital verniers to find the centre of the frets. Just double check it the other side. So when I'm drilling these holes, it's a 2mm drill. I like to work from the side because you can see the thickness of the board. Because finding the centre is not too difficult. When I've got a 4mm fingerboard and a 2mm dot, you've only got a mil to play with either side. There's a tight fit, so I just thin them down with a bit of blade. Wait for all of it to come down, and we dip these in some acetone to soften them up, and we'll pop them in. So, see you in a bit. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to do the dot markers, right? So I've drilled all the holes while I was waiting for it to come. So this is some acetone. Right. So do you want to put them in or cut them? Or do both?
Yeah.
It's starting to melt already. Right, see the little pool that comes there?
Yeah.
Go like that. Cut them off. Right, go on then, drop them in. Push them down. Okay. Right.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Is that longer?
Stick them in.
Okay. Oh, I got.
Right. Cut in. I'll hold the sun, alright?
Okay.
Right then. This is the last one. With acetone. Go on then. Drop them in.
Okay.
Okay. Nice.
No.
And tap it down. Right. Lovely. So we let them go off now. They're all glued in with acetone. It's a little bit easier than using super glue, but normally I use super glue. Okay, so we let that dry. Right, job done for now. Fingerboard master off now. What I'm going to do, put a bevel on the edge of the frets. I'll turn it round to do this. So I've got a medium crowning file here. They cut well, these Stumac files, but what I find is over the edges of the frets they can shatter a little bit and they can leave some tooling marks, so I need to be careful of that. So I'm rounding the frets off now, and I'm aiming to leave a little thin line on the top of the fret. A nuisance. Anyway, don't take long, just work your way down now. Give them a quick resolve. It's a bit of 600. I'll probably go to 1,000 before I put down, soften the edges. I'm just masking the fingerboard up now for putting some coats of lacquer on there, to try and eliminate the bleed coming through the frets onto the fingerboard. In the past I've either cut it really tight and held it down, but with this one it's an old one of these blades and I've ground it flat. So now I just use it as to put pressure up against the fret and makes for a good seal. It's just an old blade, and I've done it all the way down there. Proof will be in the pudding when we take it off to see how much bleed we've had. I may put a bit of green right down through the middle to hold it all down. I don't want anything cooler because it's going to be on here for a while, to be honest with you. Anyway, job done. I don't know whether I'll put on the last couple of coats, whether I'll put a bit of tint in there. Maybe a bit of a light amber. Let's see. So anyway, right. Mix some lacquer now and get the first coats on. So I'll see you in a bit. Grain filler needed in there. Just sealing the wood. The birds and maples looking nice. You see that? Anyway, leave that dry now for an hour. I've knocked it back now with a little bit of 240 grit. It's just to take off all the nibbles where the grain have raised a little bit. Now, when you put this sealer on, the primer, any marks you got in it from sandpaper or the filing or whatever, they will show up. And I can see somebody, I can see and a little tiny bit of there. So what I'll do now, I'll take them out and then I'll recoat it in, and I'll catch you back up when I'm ready to mix the lacquer. I'll see you in a bit.